3. The crew will be on here, I think. A bunch of people said they were going to join us, but so far it's just me and Josh. What's up, Josh?
What up? Just drinking my coffee.
Hell yeah. Now I'm hoping, since we're live, oh, there's Jake. Let's see if we can add him. There he is. Hi, Jake.
How's it going?
Good. I'm glad you're wearing
What's going on
pants.
with your hair?
Yeah.
So
Word.
it's proven that Jake is
Welcome.
wearing pants now, but there's no telling if Josh and I are wearing them.
I'll let everybody guess.
The other day when I was doing the strategy calls, I was wearing a collared shirt and nothing on the bottom.
No pants.
All right, just kidding. I was wearing pants.
I'm wearing pants, just so everybody's clear.
All right. So if anybody was wondering about pants, there's your answer.
We're all wearing them.
If you guys are on Facebook or YouTube and you want to comment, just throw your comments up there and we can actually show the comments here on the screen, which is cool. So get involved with the comments. All right. So anyway, here's where we're at. Broadcasting from Colorado when the state issued a stay-at-home order yesterday. So Katie has been giving me shit because she is deemed essential by the state, and I am a complete pile in comparison. So if you're essential, then thank you. And if you're not essential like us and we're just sitting around with no pants, then there's that as well. But anyway, at our gym, I've gotten the opportunity to catch up with almost every single person this week on a Zoom strategy call, which has been awesome. And we're diving into our resilience challenge. Jake and Josh, are you guys doing the resilience challenge, or is it just another day for you because you already do a lot of that stuff anyway?
Josh,
A mixture of both. A mixture of both, especially now, since we have more time and more things to focus on. Like it's just being amplified. So it's not really that I'm doing the resiliency, since I've always been doing it, but I've definitely taken some ideas from it and kind of ran with it myself. So definitely. What about you, Jake?
Yeah. And for me, like you said, it's kind of just another day. I do a lot of the things that are in the resilience challenge as part of my morning routine. So I'm really glad that we're all doing it because I think a lot of people can benefit from it. And it's definitely helped me out quite a bit doing those things every day. So I'm glad to see everybody else is attempting them or trying them.
Yeah, it's kind of a good opportunity to get some good habits done. We talk about this all the time with training. The thing is that trumps everything else is consistency. So if we can get consistent with a lot of healthy things, then it's going to be good. Do we want to go around and talk about our morning routines, or is it too private and we don't want to share it?
No, I can do that.
I could leave some stuff out. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, let's do that because I think it's cool for people to hear. Like, we've been doing this for a while, but let's talk about if you're changing anything to your morning routine now, or maybe what it was before this and what it is now, or maybe if it hasn't changed, just kind of go over it. But you don't have to put in everything if there's something personal.
Yeah. I guess I'll go first then. Yeah, I'll go first. So typically, I've stopped waking up to an alarm, which has been quite nice. But with that, I'm still waking up at between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. So it's been pretty beneficial with that. So a natural wake up instead of a harsh tone with an alarm. Only because I'm in a situation where that's feasible right now. As soon as I wake up, of course, you kind of not mope around, but just trying to get the day going. So typically I'll jump in the shower just to wake up a little bit, get some awareness going, start off with some water. And then from there, I kind of sit for a little bit, go through some meditation practices just to clear the mind. I've noticed that during a lot of this, typically you start to think about stuff that's bigger than you and what's going on in the world today and things like that. And that takes a lot of energy. So I need to slow down initially in the beginning of the day just to recenter myself and focus so I can be happier, more positive. I shouldn't say happier, but more positive throughout the day, having a positive outlook. I found that to be beneficial. I noticed that the very first part of this whole staying at home thing, I was feeling very weird and awkward and kind of in a funk, very negative. I noticed that when I went to the grocery store the first time after this has all started, I had a weird connection with people. I didn't want to be around them. I felt irritated and agitated. And then I noticed that my meditation at that time had helped me get through those scenarios with my breathing and stuff like that and calming my mind. So I find that meditation is key to set the positiveness focused in on that. And then typically after that, I'll kind of get coffee going, kind of get some random stuff out of the way. I've been doing intermittent or time restricted eating. So I'm not eating right away when I wake up, just to slowly process what's going on and get aware of the day. So I'm not thrown into it. So it's an ease. So I'll typically eat maybe around, 10:30 or 11, kind of pushing it back today so we can do this. But yeah, after that, it's just, staying mindful of what's going on, aware. So I'll watch some YouTube stuff. I've been listening to a lot of Alan Watts, some stuff that, learning history, stuff like that, reading books. And then typically later on the day, I'll start lifting and kind of continuing on with that. So making sure I eat proper nutrition is key. So I just bought a lot of vegetables yesterday, more than I probably normally do. I'm not meal prepping in that sense because I do find that cooking is actually a stress reliever. So I'm in the kitchen more, preparing food, especially fresh food. I'm not having to heat it up, a second or a third time. It actually tastes a little bit better when it's cooked the first time. So I've been keen on that. And then just kind of, being mindful of what's going on throughout the day and controlling my thoughts. So it's kind of the gist. What about you, Jake?
Mine's pretty simple. It's gotten more elaborate the more that I've done it, because I've added some different things into it. Initially, it was just meditation in the morning, but now it's like I'm still trying to maintain a consistent wake up time for me between like 6 and 7 is usually when I get up, just because I'm trying to treat these days as just another day. That way I'm just consistent and I'm able to handle it a little bit better mentally. And then I go, I don't even get out of bed at that point. I lay in bed for about another 20 minutes. I do my Wim Hof breathing, and then I'll do a 10 to 15 minute meditation, depending on how much time I have. And then after that, I go right into my cold exposure. So I do my cold exposure in the morning. It helps me wake up a little bit. It's actually like one of my favorite parts of the morning besides coffee. And it helps clear my head and helps me like focus and get in. And then when I add that to the meditation too, it actually just makes things that much better. And then after that, I go into, I do some journaling. I try and do at least one short entry per day, just to kind of, process things and keep things on track. And then from there, it's coffee. And if I have time before I hop into work, it's like 30 minutes of reading if I can get that in. And that's about it for my morning routine.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys, a lot of people listening to this have probably read Tools of Titans, and I'm one of them. And one of the things that Tim Ferriss goes through and asks is like, what is your morning routine? Do you eat breakfast? Do you not eat breakfast? All that kind of good stuff. So I think it's important to note that some of the top performers in the world, they all have some semblance of a morning routine, but they're all a little bit different. So mine is a little bit different from both of these guys. So this is in an ideal day where I'm getting up before the babies get up. So yeah. So I'll force myself to chug like 16 ounces of water like immediately upon waking. And then the first thing that I do is a journal process, and I have like a template for it. I have affirmations and just things that I'm focusing on for the day, gratitude, all this kind of stuff. From there, I'm going straight into Wim Hof breathing, and it's sort of like my charge up for the day. And when I feel really charged up from the Wim Hof breathing, I'll go take my shower and visualize and everything. I generally do a shorter cold shower in the morning, but my cold therapy is typically in the evening. That's if I'm having a really good day. The thing that I want to add on to this now that I have more time in the morning is a walk with no sunglasses and possibly no shoes. We're going to see if I can do no shoes, no sunglasses for 10 minutes after that whole routine. So, yeah, the walk is something I'd like to add to it. For me, if I have time, I'll do the meditation in the morning. I used to always do 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening of meditation, but that's changed to Wim Hof sort of substitutes that in, and I'm doing the meditation more formally in the evenings. So, do we want to talk about evening routines too, or do we want to jump into like what you guys are doing now to combat stress during the day?
Do we have time to do both, or do you want to pick one?
Let's do both. Why not?
Okay. Say that you broke up a little bit.
So I guess let's go through the day now. So like before, and then we'll do evening routines after that. So like for you guys, if you're not having the best day mentally, do you give into that, or is there something that you guys do that's not alcohol or drug related to help with that?
Yeah.
Man.
Do you want to go? You want to go first, Josh?
No, go ahead, because mine's getting really choppy and it's kind of hard to hear.
I used to like when I would have days like that where I guess now would be a perfect example where I get like cabin fever. I'm just really stressed out, really tired. I would usually try and salvage it at some point and then end up not doing it and just putting a button on it and saying that's the day. I'm just going to chill and bring my body back to baseline. But to try and like maintain some sort of productivity and be a functioning human being, there's an app that I found. It's called Tide, and it monitors breath work, and you can do short breathing cycles throughout the day just to kind of get you to come back to center. And that's been my saving thing right now. And then I guess just breaking up the monotony. So if I have extra time, I'll read more, or I'll try and fit my exercise in between when I have projects I'm working on or things like that. Yeah.
Cool. I like it. Josh, are you with us, or are you frozen and broken up? I think you're frozen.
He looks
back.
frozen.
Oh, the voice is back. Your face is frozen though. All right, go ahead, dude. Yeah, it's better now.
Oh, hey.
All right, go ahead, man.
Let me see if I can come back, if you guys can hear me.
We can hear you.
Good. Should I go? All right, you're frozen again, so I'm gonna go, and then yeah. So we're right now. It's like good days and bad days, and I'm finding what helps me is some sort of like really monotonous, repetitive task. So if I go do another 10-minute walk, or if I just do some step ups or something like that. But if it's extremely stressful and I can get away, I'll add another Wim Hof cycle in the middle of the day. So, Josh, are you back? Well, we'll come back to you. Let's go into evening.
All right.
Evening routines.
Evening routines.
Wait, hold on. He added another. Josh, are you there?
Oh, we got him in. Hey, now I'm on top. Look at that.
Yeah. Josh. All right.
Hello?
Let's go evening routines. Yeah. Wait, are you here?
Oh, man. It's so choppy right now.
All right. Just ignore Josh for now. Let's listen to Jake. Jake's evening routines. Here we go.
It's not as elaborate as the morning. I try. I've been doing tea, and I started doing that a couple months ago. And I actually, Brian, the tea that you recommended is my favorite now for that, which is the caramel, whatever you call it.
Soothing caramel yogi tea.
Soothing caramel. Yeah. So I try and get that in about an hour before I intend to go to bed. So that way, if I have to, pee beforehand, that way I can actually get it out. That way my sleep's not interrupted by that. I don't have to constantly get up and, do that. But then typically before bed, I'm trying lately now, since I've been like on my phone and on social media and on the internet, just nonstop for like the last couple of weeks. I've been trying to set it down and either read before I go to bed. If I want to journal again, I have an option to do that. But then there's also nights where, like last night, for example, I binged on Mindhunter and I started watching that. I'm like almost done with season 2. So just kind of anything to, not really, I guess, distract myself, but just to relax and watch things that I enjoy or do things that I enjoy before I fall asleep.
Gotcha. Josh is now trying to come back again.
I think we're good.
He's back.
All right.
Okay.
So where we lost you was like, if you're having a really stressful day, what are some things you do to combat it during the day? And then we started evening routines.
Okay. So to combat stress and all that stuff, I've been really into, what's that?
Sorry, never mind.
Oh,
Tony was commenting on the tea, and he says Jocko white tea is a good one.
Oh, gotcha. So to combat stress and the negative thoughts throughout the day, I'm really into this whole idea of being aware and consciousness and understanding what's going on with the ego and things like that and the world and what we have control over and what we don't. And to in my brain and the way I think in my thought processes is to kind of think in a universal term, like how things are really broken down and the significance on where we're at in place of the world, right? So when we think of something negative or bad happening, like the virus right now, it's nice to take a step back and really focus on like where you are consciously, right? What are your thoughts telling you? Your ego is almost like that shield that protects you in survival mode and creates false images, right? So to speak. So it's in my ability to really train my mind in the sense that I need to watch those negative thoughts as they unfold, identify them, and then hopefully I could subside them with positive counteractive thinking, right? Because we're not our thoughts, we're just the thinker of those thoughts. So to allow those thoughts to pass releases that stress and anxiety that I have built up with that. So that's what's been really helping me out, is to kind of think of myself as part of a bigger structure, a bigger universe, and it really helps me get through certain things. Just having that understanding and awareness of where those thoughts come from and where they stem from really helps me combat the stress and anxiety. Does that make sense?
Like it. Yeah, totally. I like it a lot.
Yeah,
I
like it.
It's like another perspective, and if you can catch yourself in that moment, that's hard to do though, especially in times of stress. It's hard to pull out.
Oh, it's so hard.
Off of that, John, I really like that, by the way. Off of that, there are two sections out of Marcus Aurelius' Meditations that talk about almost exactly what you're talking about. Like you said, when you kind of get bogged down or you're in times of stress, it's beneficial to take like a bird's eye view of everything, like, to realize where you fall in the universe and like where you actually are in society. And the other thing too is, with this happening right now, the biggest thing that's actually helped me, or has been a comforting factor for me, that kind of goes along with what you're talking about, was that this isn't the first time this has happened to anybody. So
right.
This has happened to millions of people. Time is just a repetitive thing. It just happens over and over again, and you just have to learn how to handle it.
Totally. And what's so crazy is that as us humans being alive right now, we've never experienced this, so it feels new to us. But this has happened over and over throughout history, right? And what we failed to do is live in these moments rather than going back in our history and our past. And this is why I'm so big on human history, is really learning from those practices that were done before and seeing how we can apply it in our times now. And having that overall view of how this works really helps me out in the anxiety level. And really, I don't feel a lot of anxiety. Of course, it might be my situation and what's going on, but I've also been in deployment situations in the military and things like that. I've been in chaotic situations that really helped develop my mind And right now, this for me is almost like a walk in the park. I don't want to minimize anybody else's struggles, but I have experienced some really intense situations where this to me is really nothing. It's just kind of like a walk in a park. It's really helping me focus on who I am as a conscious human being. So I know all of us have our own experiences, and we're going through this in our own ways and processing and interpreting it. So my advice for people is just to be aware of your thoughts. And as soon as you can be aware of those negative thoughts, we have all the control in the world to change those ideas and thoughts. So
the other thing too that I've tried to get through to some of the Valhalla athletes is just the ability to be adaptable and the ability to seek out opportunities where there may be a negative viewpoint of what's actually happening. So like you can't train necessarily how you used to, but you can do something. You still have to do something.
Yeah,
you can still
totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and I'm reading a New World or New Earth right now by Eckhart Tolle, and that thing is really powerful. So I've kind of been learning this stuff a roundabout way, but once I picked up his book, he really touches on this wholeheartedly. That's his whole message is to awaken the mind and the ability to control negative thoughts and things like that, and diminish the ego that we built up that really creates these filters and makes it like a dramatization of what's really happening, of what we can really do to control that. So if that made sense. But there's a lot of literature, there's a lot of philosophers that I've really looked into and kind of helped me out and really trained my mind. Sam Harris is a really good source on how to control those thoughts. So there's just so many resources out there that can really help you through all this.
Right, Ryan.
That's why he's so big on meditation. You know, Sam Harris, like it's proven the more you meditate, the more you get that view, or it's like a buffer, right? So exactly. You guys know me. I'm like default like reactionary. But if you see if I've been meditating, you'll see I'll pause for a second. So but yeah, it just adds that. But that's what I'm trying to talk about on the strategy sessions with all of our athletes right now that have never meditated before. It's like training, right? Where it's really tough when you first start, but the more you do it, the more you get used to it, and the more you see the benefits, even when you're not meditating, like in your daily life, and you can get more to your perspective, Josh, the more you're doing it consistently.
Totally.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Jake. Ryan Holiday, what were you going to say?
I was going to actually ask you. So when you're talking about meditation, have you talked about monkey mind at all?
Oh, a little bit, but in like beginner ways, just because I want to get there. I'm doing weekly check-ins with everybody, but some people have literally never done it before. So I want them to do the on-ramping of like the Headspace app first, or Sam Harris's like beginner stuff first.
Sam Harris's app is great.
But I think you should talk about it right now, because I think it's cool to understand that as they get into it more.
Well, actually, I don't know. I know like a base concept of it, and I just I have my own interpretation of it. So I don't know if I'm entirely accurate. But it's so especially with Sam Harris, like with that app too, Josh, I'm glad you recommended it, because he's like one of my favorite, like for morning meditation stuff. I think it's just the idea that when you're trying to meditate, it's not the absence of thought, which a lot of people think it is. It's actually you being aware of the thought process that's going on, and then catching yourself in that moment, and then coming back to the present moment with like breathing and sounds and just tactile cues like touch, where you're sitting, what you feel. And usually, at least especially for me, since I'm a little bit newer at meditation, a lot of my meditation is like me catching myself. And then the last like 2 minutes before I'm finished is where I get like clarity. That's where I'm very chill, and I'm not even thinking about anything. And I'm a little bit more aware of what's going on.
Yeah. Totally. I think one of the apps, I can't remember which one it is. I think Sam Harris's is the best because I just like his voice. I put a video out to our athletes earlier in the week saying
that's right.
I don't really like the Calm app because the girl annoys me, but I like Sam Harris's. Either in Sam Harris's or the Headspace, sort of like, we'll call it onboarding for lack of a better word. They describe what Jake is talking about as you're like sitting on the side of the highway and you're just watching cars go by. When normally, if you're in this regular thought process, you see this truck, which is some thought, and you chase after it, and you chase on that thing, and your brain just keeps going and going and going on that one thing. Where if you meditate, you can say, "Oh, that was a brown truck. Cool. What's next?" And then you're now just aware that, oh, I had that thought, I had that feeling, I had that emotion, and then you're just analyzing it, and you're saying, "Oh, that happened," being aware of it rather than chasing after it and getting into some sort of anxiety. So I think that's for sure.
Yeah. So that's what I've been doing to combat stress and anxiety is through openness, consciousness, being aware, really diving into who I am, and not so much who I am as an ego standpoint, but who I am as an objective viewer of my thoughts and the reality around us. Because ultimately, like, this will pass. We don't have a future because it hasn't happened. The past is already gone. It just flows through. So all you have is this one moment. And to really focus on thoughts and negativity that you have nothing in control of in the future because it's not there. Like, all you have now is to be present in that moment and make yourself a positive human being that can really contribute and really change things, you know? So, yeah. But overall, that's just where my thought is, my head is, kind of working on myself in that regard as far as stress and anxiety in these times. And then as far as my nightly routine, I typically like to, after I lift, I'll typically like to unwind for a little bit. I'll definitely roll out, do some mobility stuff. I'll make dinner. This time right now, I don't have anything prepped. So of course, cooking is a big thing for making dinner. And then at night, yeah, it's just, I feel like I study a lot in learning different things across the board, whether it's in philosophy or, you know, anything science related, nutrition, physical fitness, stuff like that. So I really find that really helps me calm my mind. Or, you know, sometimes I just want to zone out a little bit. So I'll put on a Joe Rogan podcast or, you know, whatever may be out there. Right now, I'm really big into the Tiger King. So that's been fun to watch. And I use that to decompress and then kind of just relax from the day. So, and then typically
I haven't seen that yet. I'm excited to watch that.
I gotta watch it too. I haven't seen it.
It's the greatest story ever told if you haven't seen it. It's literally the greatest thing ever invented. Well, captured, I should say, not invented. It's mind-boggling that the humans like this exist in the world today, and it's a real look into how human nature has evolved from where we were. So that's why I like it so much, is just the human standpoint. But before bed, I like to take a cold shower. So what I'll do is, of course, I'll wash up with hot water, and then that last 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how long I want to stay in there, I'll progressively get colder and colder. And the ultimate goal is to get it all the way to cold and stand there for maybe 30 seconds to a minute and really focus on my breathing and really control the thought. So that's the meditation aspect of that, is really just, okay, mind over matter sort of thing. Like, this isn't going to kill you. You're okay. Like, just breathe and relax. And then from that, I really focus on like how I'm shivering. If I can control the shiver in my body to where it's non-existent anymore, I have succeeded in my cold bath, right? Sort of thing, cold shower. And then when I get out, I don't typically drive right away. I'll stand there and keep my breathing going, and I'll let the cold air come in and just be in that coldness, right? And then when I start to dry off, I'm no longer cold anymore, not even in that moment. So from there, it slows my heart rate down, my blood pressure goes down, my mind is calm. And then by the time it's time to go to sleep, I've already relaxed enough where I've relaxed enough to kind of have a nice restful sleep. So,
you know, there's an interesting thing about that too. Like, people who actually, it doesn't even have to be a cold shower before bed, actually doing that, or just even like wetting your hands, and obviously at this point, wash your hands first, but wetting your hands and then running water over your face or splashing your water over your face. Those two areas, along with your feet, have a dense amount of capillaries. And what ends up happening to actually stimulate sleep, this is from that sleep book that I read, is that if you use the water as kind of a lack of a better term, a conductor, or it's pulling heat away from your body. Basically, there's a drop in temperature in your body that helps stimulate sleep, and that's why those showers and things before bed are so beneficial.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, that's been huge for me. You guys know I'm such a shitty sleeper. The cold therapy kicks off my entire evening routine, which is almost entirely to get to sleep. So the cold therapy is either a cold shower or in my ice tub. And I'll do the Wim Hof right after and do a 20-minute meditation. And then I'm basically just chilling and I go down pretty hard. So
when you do the cold showers, I was actually going to ask you this because I tried this the other day. Instead of going straight for like 6 minutes like I normally do, because we talked about how the fact that your body gets used to it and it's not even beneficial anymore.
You don't, yeah.
I tried in the middle of it where I got to 3 minutes. I would stop the stopwatch. I'd crank it back to hot. Then I'd stand there, wait until my body got used to it again, and then I'd go back to cold.
Oh, that's interesting.
For 3 minutes. It's pretty intense, but it's actually a lot better than just trying to go straight for 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Or however long you go.
I usually play with, because the water comes in. So I would normally do half the time like on my front, and then I flip over, and then it's like, oh. But it's been fun to play with starting on my back first. But yeah, like Jake said, like when you're getting 3, 4, and 5 minutes, like time, you're not watching the clock anymore. Like there is no shivering. You're adapted. So at that point, it's really time to step it up to an ice bath, because a lot of the benefits come from the actual shock to the system and the way that your body goes into just defense mode. So there's never been a time when I'm in my ice bath and I can think about anything but just fucking staying alive. So I forgot to post it, but I have video of me. Katie was making fun of me when it was all snowy. So there's like this much snow on top of the ice bath, and I open it up and it's like 35 degrees, and I jump in, and she's just laughing at me. And I only made it like a minute, but I'll try to remember to post it. But yeah, so these things are all good, and we're way longer than I wanted to go today, but I think it was good to discuss. But I'd like to just kind of end it there. I think it's good for people to hear about the routines and the way you guys think about it, unless you want to add anything else.
No, I mean, for the most part, like the biggest takeaway I have from all this for everybody to maybe take away for themselves is being consciously aware of what's going on, the thoughts in your mind. I know we're going through a lot of issues in the economic standpoint, financial crisis, and that's going to be a big attraction for what's coming. It's only going to get worse as this time perpetuates and it builds and escalates. And all we have are our thoughts, right? We can either dwell in them and kind of, dwell in the emotions of things, or we can really just be aware of those negative thoughts coming up, analyzing it and realizing it's not the end of the world. And we need to create a new plan to move forward. So just being consciously aware is my biggest takeaway from this whole conversation for people.
For sure.
Yeah, and I would say, especially with any of the things we're doing, the resilience challenge, or if you're like trying to add different things into your routine, starting small and then increasing the amount of time you spend doing that's going to be the best, because it's actually going to help you build a habit. You want to try and use these things to actually make your life better, not just to do them during this time to get over the hump. They're actually going to be really beneficial for your life even after this all blows over. So just spending time working with smaller chunks and then working your way up like you would for a workout. You don't start at RX, or you don't start with like 300 pounds on your back. You work your way slowly to get there. So
totally. Those are good points.
Yeah. For sure. So stay strong, guys. If you're one of our athletes, make sure you're jumping on the strategy sessions with me and Coach Jake if you're in Valhalla. And reach out if you guys need anything. We're here to help you. So I'm going to end the broadcast, but if you guys could stay on for a second, that'd be good.
Sure.
Cool.